This video was made possible by betterhelp.com/Pakman, where you can get affordable online access to a licensed therapist through text, phone, and video chat. Just click the link under this video. Let's now talk about a very specific case, not of false sexual assault allegations, but of real sexual assault allegations. I wasn't actually going to cover this. I wasn't going to cover Bill Cosby's sentencing on the regular show, but some of the reaction to his sentencing has been so absurdly out of order that I do want to talk about it. To catch you up, Bill Cosby was a beloved television actor from The Cosby Show of decades ago. In American culture, Cosby and The Cosby Show were super important. It was the first representation of sort of a everyday upper middle class black family. Cosby played Dr. Cliff Huxtable. And then Cosby, as an individual, became known for speaking out about the tribulations of the black community and specifically of black men. And not everybody agreed with Cosby, but he was undoubtedly an important figure within that movement. But as all this was going on, we now know Cosby was a truly depraved predator of women. He drugged women in advance of sex, all sorts of different scenarios, dozens of accusers in total. He is a dangerous sexual predator, and between expired statutes of limitation and all sorts of other circumstances, he evaded criminal justice for decades. But finally, his drugging and sexual assault of Andrea Constand 14 years ago caught up with him. It took 2 trials, but he was found guilty, and yesterday Judge Stephen O'Neill sentenced Cosby to 3 to 10 years in state prison. He is 81 years old now. This may be effectively a life sentence for Cosby. We don't know. But immediately, all sorts of nonsense started being said about the sentencing and in general about the prosecution of Cosby. People saying, for example, Cosby looks so sad in his picture, his mugshot, I guess we would call it, as he was being taken into custody. I feel so bad for the guy. And then the truly bad arguments started being made. One such argument was that this is racially motivated. I saw a meme floating around saying, look, Cosby was the only guy convicted. He's black, but white guy Trump hasn't been convicted, and white guy Matt Lauer hasn't been convicted, and white guys Bill O'Reilly and Harvey Weinstein and Charlie Sheen haven't been convicted. This is very dumb. First of all, Harvey Weinstein might be convicted, right? Those legal proceedings are only starting. Bill O'Reilly and Matt Lauer, they may not have done anything criminal, right? They sexually harassed women and had inappropriate relationships in the context of their workplace. It's not clear that they actually committed crime. So I don't even really know why that analogy is necessarily being made here.
During the entire discussion of the Me Too movement, we've talked about how there is a range of all of these accusations, and what Harvey Weinstein did wasn't exactly the same, or wasn't at all the same as what maybe O'Reilly or any of these other guys did, and there are levels to all of these things. But what Bill Cosby did was the worst out of all of these accusations. He drugged and raped countless women.
And I actually think that focusing on the racial element kind of misses the power and wealth element, which is that Cosby evaded justice until he was 81, in part because he's part of the super wealthy upper class, which has a different justice system, right? Cosby's net worth of, by one report, $400 million is part of why he wasn't convicted for so long. And they finally were able to get him and hold him accountable. So saying these other guys who were white didn't get convicted in this story is just not the right analysis. And then there's, oh, come on, he's 81 years old. Do you really need to put him in prison? The guy avoided justice for decades, and he was able to live almost all of his life as a free man for a very long time, but he ruined the lives of other people when they were in their 20s, when they were in their 30s. So it is a terrible argument to say he's 81, and so we shouldn't punish him. The fact that others are found more quickly, or that others are younger, or that Cosby was able to use his wealth to circumvent punishment, that has no bearing on the fact that this guy did horrible things and he is now being punished for them, full stop.
Right. I mean, if he was arrested at the age of 40 and then spent 40 years in prison for what he did, maybe now you could look at his advanced age and failing health and say we can let him out under house arrest and all these conditions. But he got away with this during the entirety of his life, and now it's the only time that he can face punishment.
And I hate to break it to you, but 3 years, which is the low end of that range, with good behavior, he may do very little time. Like, this may not actually be a life sentence for Bill Cosby. Anyway, a lot of really just bad ideas and arguments coming after his sentencing.